The neighbor next door. The hidden abuse. This is the Animal Court Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Animal Court Podcast. I am Janelle Babington, founder and CEO of Animal Victory.
I am Penny Imes, the lead investigative writer for Animal Victory.
And today we are going to be your hosts. Thank you for joining us. This is the Animal Court Podcast. We are a non-political, non-profit organization exposing how the system fails dogs and cats, and we appreciate you being here with us. One quick note before we begin today's case: the Animal Court is entirely supported by listeners. So if you believe animals deserve justice, you can support our show for as little as $2, tax deductible. If you are a dog lover, you can go to givetodogs.org, or if you're a cat lover, givetocats.org. The majority of our funds and donations fund small dog and cat credible, sustainable rescues. So, I guess we get started from here. Penny, you ready to get started?
I guess so. We're talking about Jason Brown, probably the most notorious dog killer in Nevada, in the state of Nevada. One of the worst cases of animal cruelty. Do you want me to get into the specifics of it, or?
Yeah, well, this is the story of a man who lured dogs off Craigslist, as we know, Penny. His name is Jason Brown. He called his motel room where he brought the dogs the quote unquote house of pain. He filmed their torture, and he's been sentenced to 12 to 28 years in jail. And now he's asking to be paroled again, which is August 27th. Okay. So, you wrote the petition on this. We worked together on this. We worked on the first case in 2022 where he was denied parole. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on now, Penny, with the story?
Well, we got it denied the first time. There were over 16,000 people that signed the petition, wrote letters to the parole board. The details of what he did obviously convinced them that he shouldn't be out in society before his 28 years is up. But he's trying again. And we're just trying to get him stopped so he can spend as much time behind bars as possible.
Yeah, and we know, Penny, we've written, close to 400 petitions right now. How many times do we get people asking us, why didn't they get justice? Or what do you mean only 6 months? What do you mean only 12 months? It's hard to answer these questions sometimes because animals don't have rights, as we know. And as you dubbed him, the notorious Nevada killer, I believe you're the one that told me they said Nevada had said it was one of the worst animal torture crimes they've had in the state history.
Yeah, absolutely. They said it's one of the worst cases of animal cruelty in the entire state in all of history that's been documented.
Yeah. And so from what I know, as we've been moving along with this case, he is as evil as they come. Jason Brown was arrested in July of 2014. So, he was allowed to usually when you're arrested and you're given your term, you're up for parole after you serve your minimum. In the state of Nevada, he was able to earn good credits. He was able to earn good credits in jail. And while he was in jail, he obviously earned some good credits. And after 12 years, that could lead up to a lot of good credits. So he was able to apply to go up for parole. And he did that in 2022, and he was denied. And 3 years later, he earned good credits. He was allowed once again, to go up for parole. And he was denied a second time, which is wonderful. So now here we are, August 27th, 2 weeks away, and he's going up for parole again. His minimum sentence will be up in March, which means he could be freed. But this particular case on August 27th, this is what they call a mandatory parole release. So this petition that we're sending in is so critical because the Nevada Board of Parole Commissioners are the ones that make the decision, and they're going to decide whether he stays in jail to finish his term or whether he doesn't. And then, of course, the Nevada Department of Corrections decides on, the remainder of the term, that sort of thing. It gets a little bit complicated, but that's why this petition is, for August 27th is critical, because they're going to get our comments like they did last time. They acknowledged our petition. There were other petitions out there, and they said no. You're too dangerous to society. You must remain in prison.
And I think in order for people to understand why we're so passionate about keeping him behind bars, we need to talk about what he did.
Yeah, tell us, Penny, in your petition, tell us what you wrote. I mean, some of what was in there was really horrible.
Found in his motel room, it was basically a room of horrors. They found dog heads in the refrigerator, dismembered. There were limbs cut off. He was described as he butchered them slowly. And what's even worse is he videotaped what he was doing so that he could watch it again later for his own pleasure, which is just twisted. And we've also heard from somebody close to the case in Nevada, an animal rights person, who was told that one of his cellmates said that Brown, admitted in prison that his ultimate goal is to kill humans. Now, that's an allegation, it's hearsay, but that's what we've been told. So he's obviously dangerous.
Yeah, and you were told by somebody close to the case in Nevada? Yeah, and as we know, Penny, we've heard it all too often. Anybody who commits crimes to animals is 4 to 5 times more likely to commit a crime against a person. And just by you saying that, it's easy to believe. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I have some of the.
You've got the quotes about the pugs.
Yeah. We've got some comments made by Jason. Jason, these were some of the recorded statements from the courtroom, and the parole hearing statements. The strongest verified recorded quotes. One of them was, "I'm making a jacket out of them." Number 2, "The little white chihuahuas are my favorite. If I get one of those, they're coming to Jason's house of pain." He also said, "Let me show you. You want me to get one tonight?" And this one here, it's disturbing. Quote, "Pugs, instead of barking, pugs sound like humans, like little kids. They yell," he said, mimicking the noise. However he did that. So the man is clearly demented, evil, and needs to be out of society. So this parole hearing coming up is critical, Penny. We need to get as many signatures as possible and let the people know he needs to stay in jail. I know the first DA he fought very, very hard for the case, and he was able to get 12 to 28 years. I don't know who the district attorney will be when the next term comes around, or exactly how the Nevada Department of Corrections works when they'll update us. But I do know that this hearing on August 27th is critical. It will determine that mandatory release date, which will be coming up in March. So they have the sole discretion to make that decision whether he stays in prison or whether he's able to be released in March. And when I say release, he'd still be parole, but with supervision.
And I do think it's important to point out that the original judge who sentenced him in 2015, it was, I had his name, Judge Elliot Sattler. He did give him the maximum sentence for his 7 felony counts. It was 4 years per dog. So I think it's important to acknowledge that the judge gave the maximum sentence he could. And I also think it's important for him to be denied parole so he serves that time.
Absolutely, Penny. If we keep letting these animal cases get dismissed, we're never going to be able to win any of these cases. So this was a very powerful case. And I think the most powerful thing that came out of this particular case is that they, I don't know if it was Nevada Voters for Animals, the animal advocates out in Nevada, they created the law, they fought and they lobbied for the law. So the reason that Jason was able to come up for parole 2 and 3 times was because of the good credits, but they have now abolished that. I don't know exactly what the law is called, but in 2023 it was inspired by his case. So now when something like this happens again, and there's however many years you said per count per animal. So if somebody gets sentenced to 12 years, they're not going to be able to have something called good credits to get out of jail early, free cards.
And the only reason he was up for that is because his case happened before that law was put into place. If it had happened after, it's not retroactive.
It's not retroactive. Exactly.
Mhm.
And at this
Yeah.
point, his 11 years is up. So he will be coming up for parole, in March. Once again,
Yeah.
I can't stress it enough that, this date, August 27th, this hearing is critical. And, we've actually got 3 or 4 cases in Nevada right now, Penny?
Yeah, there's another cat killer out of Nevada. The one that was arrested, well, originally arrested in San Francisco. He killed a kitten in an ATM machine. He's believed to have killed a couple of other kittens that he adopted. And then he went back home to Nevada and he was arrested there.
Yeah, we've got, Nevada seems to be getting a little bit tougher with their laws and their animal cruelty laws, which is good news for us, because we do have 3 or 4 different cases pending right now in Nevada. But this case here in particular, he is, again, as Penny mentioned, one of the most notorious dog killers, and he does not deserve to be out of jail.
No,
So,
no. If I switch over to the petition here, I can read a quote from, I believe there's a city council member on one, and then let's see, Las Vegas City Councilwoman Victoria Seaman said, he slowly butchered them and made a video. I saw someone at this hearing who doesn't really connect with what those animals went through, adding, I don't feel this person is ready to be released from prison. This was for the 2022. So they did acknowledge it at that point. And then on the most recent one, we've got the district attorney, Christopher Hicks, just describing some of the horror of what they found in that motel room. The authorities observed the body of a small dog in the bathtub, which had been decapitated and its tail severed, 4 severed dog heads and 7 severed dog legs in the refrigerator, a bucket of animal skins and dog parts throughout the room, including a dog's ear and penis next to the bathtub. That's the kind of man we're dealing with. It's just,
yeah,
he tried to blame it on drug use, but there are a lot of people who take drugs who do not go around mutilating animals, videotaping it just to watch it later. You can't just blame it on drugs.
Of course not. Of course. And especially, I'm alarmed at what you told me, what you heard, of what he said in prison. So, who knows? He's clearly not ready to get out of prison for what he did. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Penny, he was found by a motel worker. I think she suspected there was something in the room. Is that correct?
Yes. They went into the room, I think, to clean, and he wasn't there. And they found what I just read in the room, and they immediately contacted the police. So, yeah.
And that's the time I think the Sheriff's Department of Washburn and the Animal Control Washburn, they went in and what is it?
Washoe County. Washoe County.
Washoe County.
Washoe.
Okay, they came. Mm-hmm. He was arrested within the next day, I believe, right? That was in July 14th.
Yeah, it was pretty fast.
2014. Yeah. So they got him and they arrested him with this great job. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, what else can we, this again, Penny, this is one of the most horrible cases that we've come across, what he's done. We say it all the time. These people are evil, and we're out there trying to we're trying to tell people why the justice system fails or doesn't fail our dogs and cats. With this particular case, it's actually good news because Nevada's been very tough on it. These are the kinds of sentencing we need to see. And of course, we don't often see this because, as we know, animals don't have rights. So it depends on the jurisdiction. It depends on the state. It depends on the DA and the judge. Of course, I will say at every podcast, they make the final decision. And, and the best thing we can do as animal advocates, as you know, is get our petitions in there, put that public pressure on them not to dismiss the case, because the jails are filled with violent offenders and it's just too easy to dismiss these cases. So this is actually a good story, to be honest with you. If he should get out, it would be sad, but at the very least, he has been in prison for 11 to 12 years. Let's hope he doesn't get out. He's certainly a very scary person. He fits, as far as I'm concerned, the Jeffrey Dahmer profile. he
Yeah.
fits he fits that. So,
I guess one other thing to take from this as a word of warning to people, he perused Craigslist at the time, but there's also Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor. People are always rehoming their pets and giving them away. And he preyed on those people and told them he was giving their dog a great home and then butchered them. And it just something, I mean, I can't imagine getting rid of my pets, but a lot of people do. Just be aware. Some of the people that you're handing off your cats and your dogs to might be doing something awful.
It seems to be we have several cases like this, Penny, that we've come across where people are getting free animals off of Craigslist or Nextdoor.com, and the general public just isn't aware of all of the abuse and the evil people out there and what they're doing. And of course, as we know, there's an abundance of dogs and cats. Until we come up with some better programs for spay and neuter, we're going to continue to have several more than what we should have with abused cats and dogs. I mean, they're always going to have abused animals. There's not enough homes for the dogs and cats. So they end up on Craigslist and they end up on Nextdoor.com and all of these other social, local websites. And people know these sick, evil people with these fetishes or whatever it is they need to do to animals know that they can get the animals off of these social platforms.
And they'll say what they need to say to convince somebody to hand their pet over. I'm not really sure what red flags they would have looked for. I don't know this guy personally. I don't know if he had a great persona or if people were just desperate to hand off their pet. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, I guess if I had to guess, it might be a combination of both. I've heard other people tell me, well, Janelle, it doesn't matter if there's an abuse registry because, somebody can just go and get the pet for them. And that's true. But again, these are preventative methods that we're coming up with.
Right. Yeah.
It's, we have to start
I would
somewhere.
say if you're thinking about doing that, at the very least, try to do a home check. I mean, this guy obviously didn't even have a house. He was doing this in a motel room. It sounds like he was unhoused at the time.
Yeah, and Craigslist doesn't care. They're just out there to sell. I think until we can stop Craigslist from selling animals and giving away animals, that would be a big step right there. You got the social platforms, the innocent people, so we think they're innocent, that have to rehome their pets. And so, I know I always try to chime in for dogs and cats and try to put my 2 cents out there and let them know what lurks out in society and what to be aware of. And it seems to be there's a lot of meaningful people. There are a lot of circumstances why people do need to get rid of their dogs and cats. But when animals get rights, that's probably the only time that we can get Craigslist to stop selling animals online or offering people to use Craigslist as a platform to give away their animals. Do you agree with that?
It's on every platform. Yeah, I do. I also know that it's on Facebook. It's pretty much everywhere. I have Nextdoor. And I see it every day. I hate to say this, but I need to rehome my dog. And I see it on Facebook daily. I need a new home. I hate to say it. My dog has been with me for 6 years, but I have to let her go. So it's everywhere.
It is everywhere. So again, when animals have rights, that's not something you could do with a person, obviously. So when animals get rights, that might be something we tackle down the line. Penny, start working on that. But when they do, that's the only way we're going to be able to stop these sort of social platforms from offering these animals and pets, for free to people.
And in the meantime, awareness. Let people know that people like Jason Brown are out there. He's not the only one.
No, he's not the only one at all. I mean, we have National Animal News. Penny, how many stories have you written on National Animal News about these people?
You can't even count. Too many. There's just too many abuse.
Well,
Since
we started Animal Victory, I think you have 2,500 stories or so up there, and they're all pertaining to animal abuse. And Animal Victory, we can't write a petition on all of them, so we try to pick the most, I like that new word, notorious, quote unquote, that you dubbed him, evil people out there to talk about, to let people know this is what we're fighting for and this is why we're fighting.
I've had people ask, why do you write about so many abuse cases? And it's to name and shame. Get it out to as many people. Let them be known to their coworkers and their neighbors. This is what that person did.
Absolutely. People, how many times do people ask us to give us the name, tell us who they are? And we know, of course, we can't give out the name of juveniles, and we have restrictions for what we can and can't write about people. But yeah, they're forever asking us for the name. They like that. That's good. Name and shame. I know that's going on right now with the Shelley kitten killer we just did a podcast on. And it was a horrible case because the judge let him walk free. Another serial kitten killer, just as bad as this Jason Brown dude. And just as bad, only with cats. And they let him walk free. But we've got rescue out there, and they're working diligently. And we just created a petition ourselves called Pass Shelley's Law now. They want to name and shame him. The parents own a roofing company out there in Chicago. They've got his name out on flyers. They're doing rallies. And a lot of the neighborhood people didn't even know who he was. What do they do? So, it's insane with Jason Brown. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Nevada that don't know who Jason Brown is. So, it's critical to get this information out. And as soon as we get these petitions going, we start promoting them on Facebook and everywhere we can. There's Shelley's Law. There's their petition, 20,166. That's fabulous. And I think we've got 17,000 signatures for them as well. And we'll continue to support Shelley's Law. They're on our podcast that you can visit on YouTube at any time, or you can go to theanimalcourt.org and listen to or watch any of our podcasts. We're going to talk about as many of these petitions and stories as we can, get the names out, let people know what's going on, and let them know how critical petitions are, how much they play a role, how easy it is to dismiss these cases. And especially now, the most critical part for animal advocates is timing in these animal abuse cases. Timing is as far as when we get the petition to the attorney and the judge. And that's usually a couple of weeks before sentencing, because they have to go through first they have to go to the evidence period, and then they have to go for a negotiation period, and then they go for the trial, and then of course, you've got the defense attorney that will try to stall the case as long as they can. So these trials will go on, as we know, for years and years, for a lot of various reasons. So timing is important. And right now, with the Jason Brown case, the timing couldn't be more critical. We have our petition out there. How many signatures do we have on the petition right now, Penny? For Jason?
We had over 18,000 when I checked last. Let's see here. We're sitting at 18,176 right now.
That's perfect. We'll get it launched again.
2,000 more than the prior one, so that's good.
Yeah, that's very good. And we'll get it launched again, where it's August 13th. We'll get it launched. We have our date set when the letter's going in with the petition, the letter of intent. We'll get to the Nevada Parole Board of Commissioners, and hopefully they will deem him as dangerous as we deem him, along with the 18,000 people who have signed our petition. And if you read some of those comments, animal lovers have some of the fiercest comments out there, and rightfully so, for reason. There's a lot of good reason for this.
Absolutely. And also in the petition, if anybody goes over there to sign, you have the option to click a link, and there's a sample letter, so you can send an email to the parole board. So if you want to take more action than just signing, go ahead and sign, leave a comment, and then shoot off an email. The more people that send it in, the better it is.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times that we don't include the prosecuting attorney's phone number and email. We won't do that on many petitions because we like to stay on the good side of the prosecuting attorneys. We don't want them bombarded for a lot of various reasons, and it could actually hurt the case if they call it like trial media. So we do that for a reason. But then we also get to our fed up point where we say, throw the number in there, get a letter out there. This one's just too important. Bombard them. They're not listening to us.
Well, and this one is actually to the parole board.
Yeah, this is to the parole board, right? But they will be making the decision whether or not he goes to that mandatory parole board meeting in March. So they can just say no, and then it goes from there. And we'll have to follow up because I don't know all of Nevada's laws to see what happens with that. So, Penny, is there anything else the listeners should do right now that you would suggest?
Just head on over to Animal Victory and sign the petition.
Yeah, go to animalvictory.org. His mug comes right up there. He is right there scrolling. He's right next to the cat. He's right in the middle on the homepage. Can't miss it. So on that note, we're going to close out this show today. We'd like to thank you for listening and watching. Whoever you are, we appreciate it. Remember that we are supported entirely by listeners like you. You can donate as little as $2. It's tax deductible through the Animal Victory Disaster and Abuse Fund. You can go to givetodogs.org if you're a dog lover, donate $2. Or you can go to givetocats.org and donate $2 if you're a cat lover. Either or, the majority of our donations after we fund our podcast go to small, credible dog and cat rescues. So until then, we want to thank you for watching and listening.
Thank you.
And we'll be back again in 2 weeks with another story. Who knows what it may be, but we'll be back. Same two people, same failed justice system, and we'll fight from there and go again.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Penny, for being here, and thank you, listeners, for being here. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
This is The Animal Court, a nonprofit podcast that's powered in part by your donations. Please visit us online at theanimalcourt.org and don't miss the next episode.